Oh my gosh, everybody, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for coming to my library today to take part in Storytime with Mr. Michael. It's a very important day, not just for Storytime, but for Mr. Michael. Today, we're going to be reading a true classic of literature. Today, we're going to be reading Corduroy by Don Freeman. So, not only is that exciting, not only is it important that here at Storytime we do all of the classics, but it's especially cool because this wasn't even my idea. Today, our book was requested by Emma. Emma, thank you so much for recommending this book. Thank you so much for watching Storytime. I'm so very happy you found us here on YouTube and that you've enjoyed all these wonderful stories. And now comes the hard part to admit. I don't think I've ever read Corduroy before. I think this is about to be my very, very first time ever reading this book. I know, I'm so underread, it's embarrassing. But that's why we read, so that we can come across all these wonderful ideas and all these brilliant books, even if everybody we know's already read them. Emma, thank you for requesting this book. Thank you everybody for watching. And I think it's finally time that I join the ranks of the rest of the world who knows and loves Corduroy by Don Freeman. Let's get rolling, shall we? Corduroy, Story and Pictures by Don Freeman. Corduroy is a bear who once lived in the toy department of a big store. Day after day, he waited with all the other animals and dolls for somebody to come along and take him home. The store was always filled with shoppers buying all sorts of things, but no one ever seemed to want a small bear in green overalls. Then, one morning, a little girl stopped and looked straight into Corduroy's bright eyes. "Oh, Mommy," she said, "look, there's the very bear I've always wanted." "Not today, dear," her mother sighed. "I've spent too much already. Besides, he doesn't look new. He's lost the button to one of his shoulder straps." Corduroy watched them sadly as they walked away. "I didn't know I'd lost a button," he said to himself. "Tonight, I'll go and see if I can find it." Late that evening, when all the shoppers had gone and the doors were shut and locked, Corduroy climbed carefully down from his shelf and began searching everywhere on the floor for his lost button. Suddenly, he felt the floor moving under him. Quite by accident, he had stepped onto an escalator, and up he went. Could this be a mountain? He wondered. I think I've always wanted to climb a mountain. He stepped off the escalator as it reached the next floor, and there, before his eyes, was a most amazing sight. Tables and chairs and lamps and sofas and rows of beds. "This must be a palace," Corduroy gasped. "I guess I've always wanted to live in a palace." He wandered around, admiring the furniture. "This must be a bed," he said. "I've always wanted to sleep in a bed." And he crawled onto a large, thick mattress. All at once, he saw something small and round. "Why, here's my button!" he cried, and he tried to pick it up, but like all the other buttons on the mattress, it was tied down tight. He yanked and pulled with both paws until, pop! Off came the button, and off the mattress Corduroy toppled. Bang! Into a tall floor lamp. Over it fell with a crash. Corduroy didn't know it, but there was someone else awake in the store. The night watchman was going his rounds on the floor above. When he heard the crash, he came dashing down the escalator. "Now, who in the world did that?" he exclaimed. "Somebody must be hiding around here." He flashed his light under and over sofas and beds until he came to the biggest bed of all. And there he saw two fuzzy brown ears sticking up from under the cover. "Hello," he said. "How did you get upstairs?" The watchman tucked Corduroy under his arm and carried him down the escalator. And he set him on the shelf in the toy department with the other animals and dolls. Corduroy was just waking up when the first customers came into the store in the morning. And there, looking at him with a wide, warm smile, was the same little girl he'd seen only the day before. "I'm Lisa," she said, "and you are gonna be my very own bear. Last night I counted what I've saved in my piggy bank, and my mother said I could bring you home." "Shall I put him in a box for you?" the saleslady asked. "Oh, no, thank you," Lisa answered, and she carried Corduroy home in her arms. She ran all the way up 4 flights of stairs into her family's apartment and straight into her own room. Corduroy blinked. There was a chair and a chest of drawers, and alongside a girl-sized bed stood a little bed just the right size for him. The room was small, nothing like that enormous palace in the department store. "This must be home," he said. "I know I've always wanted a home." Lisa sat down with Corduroy on her lap and began to sew a button on his overalls. "I like you the way you are," she said, "but you'll be more comfortable with your shoulder strap fastened." "You must be a friend," said Corduroy. "I've always wanted a friend." "Me too," said Lisa, and gave him a big hug. The end. Well, I think I can tell why Corduroy is considered a classic, can't you? That book was so sweet and so beautiful, and the pictures were amazing. Doesn't Corduroy seem like the kind of friend you'd want to have? Do you have a special friend that's a bear? Do you have a friend that's a lion or a doggy? Or, who knows, maybe a platypus or an aardvark or an ostrich? Who knows? You can have all sorts of friends. You can have stuffed friends, you can have real friends, you can have imaginary friends. That is wonderful. I'm so glad that Corduroy found a friend in Lisa. Now, I think, now that I'm finally amongst, the smarty pants of the world who know Corduroy and have read the book, I'm pretty sure that there's some other stories out there with Corduroy in it, aren't there? Maybe we'll get to read those on Storytime with Mr. Michael. Why don't you guys post below, just like Emma did, to tell me what her favorite book was so I can read your favorite book next time? Wouldn't that be awesome? Maybe you'll post a picture of you and your friend. Maybe it'll be your teddy bear friend, or your teddy egg friend, or your teddy house friend, or maybe you have a Teddy Car, or a Teddy Roosevelt, or a Teddy Winkle, or something. Maybe it's just a teddy bear. That's pretty normal, I think. Anyway, thank you guys all so much for coming to hear me read Corduroy by Don Freeman. Thank you so much to Emma for requesting it. I'm so grateful for everyone that watches these story times. Thank you all for sharing them with your friends and family. Post them on your places. Tell everybody you love it. Let's make Storytime famous. And no matter what, keep reading and stay curious, everybody. I'll see you next time.